Here, you want to see the eyes? They're just a little bit baggy is all. A couple 100 miles is all. But we're good. I mean, come on, what you come on. Sorry, the beady.
Oh, come off what you come off.
Oh, wow.
It was weird.
Some weird love.
It was.
I didn't touch it.
He didn't. He could feel the energy from it, though.
Yeah.
Not as much as normal.
Nate's like the Midwestern Samson. If he shaves his beard, he loses all his power.
Yeah, I fall asleep instantly.
For 80 days and 80 nights.
Yep, something like that.
All right, where are we going?
Go to see Dan. Let's go
All right.
see Dan.
Let's go see you.
Yeah, he's putting some stuff in.
Stuff?
Sounds rolling.
Sounds up. A's up. B's up. Yeah, I think this one's slow mo.
He seems to be cutting out just a...
Yeah,
I'll
because
see
we're
as I
too
get
far
closer.
away.
Are you getting a little cut out?
It's just,
No, I'm not. I think...
because we're too far away.
Yeah,
You're
you're
right.
right.
As we get closer, we get better.
Yeah, there you go. Getting a little background there. Yeah. So what we're gonna do with the shot, I guess, is that's the concept ag stuff. Just here, the sweet success. I can say, what it is. In fact, I'm gonna read the label a little bit closer. I know what it is, but in case I'm missing something, so I know what I'm talking about. It is, yeah. Yeah, it smells like, but they don't put that on here, right? Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Actually, before we start that, I'm just gonna. Well, I've got a lot of humic in there. Sometimes molasses and humic is a little iffy, so I'm gonna check something first.
You're going to do a pre-jar?
Yeah, a pre-jar. That's before we ever do this. We'll just check this here. I've had enough issues already. It's just down there a little farther than they need it to be. No, not this particular one. We will the next time. I'm just trying to figure out how. Give me a second. If you dump molasses and humic in straight with each other, it will turn to mud right in front of your eyes. It'll actually go solid. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, get the cows. You gotta get the cows while they're coming in. All right, we ready?
I'm rolling. It's rolling.
All right.
Goodbye for B. Waiting on B.
Rolling on tight.
Everybody's waiting on B.
Rolling on tight.
Who's B? CB?
Yeah, he's B.
Okay, we ready?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Rolling.
You're tight. Tights.
Hey, Dan Luepkes here. I guess for some reason I'm going to be on Podfathers this year. Haven't really figured that one out yet because I really doubt if I can compete with these other boys. I'm so far north, but we are going to use some of their ideas and see this far north what we can do. It's actually there's an awful lot of beans grown in northern Illinois and Iowa and all these places that are farther north than these southern guys. So I'm going to be using some of their strategies, and I might even teach them a few of mine if they're lucky. So we're going to try this Podfathers things out. Fully to expect to come in last, and I'll be okay with that. So we're going to give it a shot. But today we're making up our starter mix. We're going to try to plant some of it today. It's real iffy though. It's plenty wet yet this morning, but we're going to see how the day goes. But anyway, we got some of Concept Ag's Sweet Success, which is their blend of sugars and their recommendations on sugars. So that's what we're going to dump in this contest load. I'm putting in like a pint to the acre of that, and we're going to see how that does. Now, the importance of sugars in furrow for us is to get that soil biology ramped up. You know, give them a little food, right? You know, when you get up in the morning, what do you want? You want a little breakfast. Well, it's that time of year, all these bugs are getting going, and soil biology is getting going. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give them a little breakfast with their other nutrients that we're getting. We are using a full starter blend on our beans. Now, I'm not the biggest believer in starter on beans, but this year it's cold. It's a little damp, but it's been really cold. So the times I believe starter will pay is when you can get the beans out of the ground faster and get them growing faster. There's not enough nutrients in there to make a big difference as far as their vegetative growth spurt, but there is enough to help them get going and some micros they need to get out of the ground fast. And the faster you can get them out of the ground, get them growing, what our goal is to get them flowering by you know, summer solstice or June 21st. If you get them flowering by then, you're ahead of the game, and then you're gonna you have the possibility of some really good beans. So if you can give them a good start and get them growing, it will translate into yield. So that's our objective this year, and that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna dump this in this mix, and then I'm gonna start the agitation up. And I'd actually start the agitation quicker is the proper way to do it, but these guys won't be able to hear if I'm doing that. So we've already jar tested this. We know it'll work fine. With all my other stuff's already in here, except for a silica product that we're going to try next. I'll have to rinse the jugs, but that's just part of it. We'll do that next. I can't pour it that way. You need to be on the other side. I can do like this. We've got a new product, and it's from Corey Attlee, Advanced Yield. It's this Silica 10. I have used silica products before. They're temperamental. We've used them in some foliar things. I've usually had to use them by themselves, generally, and even then they're temperamental. Even with my water, I was getting things gummed up on the sprayer using it by itself. So silicas are tricky. So we're going to do a jar test of my starter mix with this product. It's called Silica 10. I mean, the label says it can be mixed with a lot of different things. So I did my math, basically. I'm going to get 2 quarts of my mix out of here. And actually, it's only about 0.6 of an ounce of this. But I'm going to put in probably like an ounce or 2 ounces to double it to see, you know, to make sure we're safe. So that's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to get a little bit of this, or 2 quarts is what I want. My glasses. Okay, so this 2 quarts has 318-18 in it. It's got potassium acetate, it's got calcium, has some copper, my own kind of zinc that we made up with PGR mixed in with it, several other things. So there's a lot in here already. Now I put a gallon or a little more than a gallon per acre of water with this because when you're putting that many things together, lots of times a little water is the best friend you can have. So that's what I would suggest a lot of times. And we're also putting a humic in here. There's a 12% humic, a pretty high rate of it in here. I really like the humics. So that's what we got there. Now I got to get me just a little bit of this, of the silica. These are very important because I can't see. Put my dollar store girl glasses on because I like to be stylish like that. Yeah. So that's 4, 3. That is 2 ounces. So that's a good double, or actually it's triple rate of what I'm actually going to run. But when you're jar testing, that's kind of a good idea. And I'll pour it in slow to see what we got going on. You know, we'll probably put in our rate first and then add some more. So the thing I look for initially, if things are not going to work together, you will see a reaction right on top. And I've never done this with this product, so this is new here. I would say I didn't really have a reaction, so that's a good sign. Normally if there's a reaction, it coagulates right on top of the surface. So we're going to put the rest of that in. To me, it would appear it's probably going to be all right. Always simulate agitation is what I'm doing. And then, you know, it looks fine. I'm actually real confident of this already. But then if you start pouring it back and forth, you can see if anything is separating on the bottom. And to me, it looks real good.
Is that a chunk?
No, it's all good in there as I could tell. Yeah, so I believe that mix is going to be fine. We're going to be putting this in. Now I actually am going to save this for when I'm going in the planter because I want to do some check strips with it. If I put it in this whole load, it's got the whole load. And a lot of these new products, you know, you can use them, and if you do it on the whole field and you didn't leave yourself a check strip, you can go, well, I don't know, you know. Well, we don't want to not know. We want to know if it works or not because this stuff all does cost money. So that's what we're going to wait to do. We'll dump it in on the planter. And actually, we'll talk about that on the planter a little bit later. I do have 2 separate tanks on there so we can have a product with and product without. So that's our mix. I just gave away the secret to 180 bushel beans on 2 acres. Thank you. What it does, like we used a potassium silicate before, but the silica is going to kind of do the same thing. What it does is it actually makes the plant tougher. If you spray silica foliarly, you can go up like to a bean leaf before, and you can rub through and you can like bruise the membranes, right? Now if you spray it with silica and give it a little time to get within the plant, you come back and you rub that same leaf, you have a hard time bruising that leaf. It just made it tougher. It also can make the stems tougher and the plant tougher, you know, just as far as blowing over, you know, those kind of things. Silica is actually one of the nutrients in the charts that we do need a load of. Now, I don't know in my particular field where we're going to put it. I have a silica base there. We actually have silica sand at about 24 inches. I don't know if that silica is usable to the plant. I just know that we have used silica in the past and seen good things with our plant health and our plant ruggedness. Downside is it's always been inconvenient to work with. it looks like this product might not be inconvenient, and if it's not, that's something. So we're gonna give her a try. No, you're fine. I gotta put my tools back, otherwise, you know, they won't be there next time.
One thing they asked, I know this is just the ease of use of it.
Yeah.
And then,
All right, I want to talk about a couple other products. We just were talking about our starter mix for our contest bean thing that we're going to be involved with Podfathers this year. So there's one stable on all of our bean ground, and actually we use it on a lot of the corn ground. It's a different product, but it is by Terramax. So the Terramax Liquid IF is basically an inoculant. We've had really good luck with nodulation using this product. Our beans actually on these particular beans also got inoculated with Terramax's bean inoculant right on the seed as a seed treatment. Now we're doubling that with this Terramax Liquid IF. Had real good luck with that. It's non-expensive.
yep,
Yeah.
we got a
Sound problem?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, we're talking about my starter mix on these contest beans that we're going to do as for the Podfather show. So this particular product is not just for contests. This goes on all our acres. This is a proven product. See right there, it says prove, and that's how you know. I mean, we proved it on our farm, and Beck's has proven it in their PFRs. They've had a positive return 3 years in a row on it. We definitely see increased nodulation. Really happy with the nodulation. So this is a product that always goes in the tank. I do wait to dump this in because it's a biological until I'm going into the planter. For me, I just think that's a better idea than having the bugs down in the fertilizer, whether it's a safe fertilizer or not, and ours is. I just prefer to dump it in while it's going in the planter. So Terramax Liquid IF in furrow, IF in furrow. That's a staple for us. Highly recommend that product. Now we're trying something else. Now this is a recommendation actually from our fellow Podfather, Temple Roads, but it's a Corey Atlee product. So Corey got with Temple last year. They used this product. They actually used it foliarly. They had good success with it. Temple's winning beans had this on it. He had very good success with it with corn also, but they did it foliarly. So it's supposed to be kind of a stress mitigator. So we're going to put some of it in furrow because we've been dry. Our forecast is for fairly dry and for a dry summer. So we're putting a little of it in furrow, and we will use some foliarly also later. So that's another new one to us. But if Temple gave me, it just works, you know. And if you want to trust someone, you can trust his word. So we're going to try it. So those two products are new, or this product is new. This is a stable, and we're going to dump both these in at the planter instead of putting it in the whole mix right here. So we try new things every year. We kind of sort through them. Some of them we believe just don't work, and some of them we think do, but how you gonna know unless you test? So we'll have some strip trials out, and we'll see what happens. Stay tuned. This is actually pretty warm, and the wind's been blowing all spring. This is a quiet day, but I wish the wind was blowing, because with no frickin' wind and no sun, getting dried out is gonna be a struggle. We've actually just been drying out by wind. We haven't really had hardly any sun or heat. But a lot of 30-mile-an-hour winds, like frickin' Nebraska, you know. So I gotta fire this back up for a little bit. No, you want choked. Well, we're talking about a new planter. to me, and of course, like it's to me, not new. I buy very few things new. This is a 2014 Great Plains. It's a 1625A. I bought it used for beans, and I've been wanting to go narrower row beans, okay? And there's a lot of different options, right? I mean, you can go 15s or 20s, but if we want 20s, I've been wanting to kind of go 20s on corn too. Then you got to change your corn head. You got to change everything. You got to change your wheels, tires, you know, all that. So this was a lower cost way for me to go to narrow rows without going to like drills or a split. So I really have been intrigued by Great Plains twin row system. So what you have is you have 2 rows that are running in a kind of in a 30-inch row configuration, but these are only 8 inches apart. These 2 rows are just 8 inches apart. So you're laying down 2 rows right next to each other. The upside of that is you're you're adding a distance in between the seeds. So what we're set at right now, we're at like 3 3/4 inches between the seeds, whereas if it was all in one row, we would be down to under 2 inches. So instead of competition at here, we move that competition out to like here. Now that's a big deal, okay? You'll see that in the stalk, size of the stalk, or you know, the bean stalk and stem, the girth of it. And when you can do that, then they branch better. There's just a lot of advantages to this system. It is our first year for it, so I can't claim too many advantages, but I'm going to say that just doing this is going to add 5 bushel to my average yield. I wholeheartedly believe that. I've seen enough data on it, and I've seen enough narrow row versus wide row things, especially with the wide variety and the way we can push yield. So these planters are fairly simple. This particular older model doesn't have a lot of the hydraulic down pressure and the electric meters and all that, but Great Plains just original system with all that, more mechanical. We do have hydraulic drive, but mechanical meters, air delivery to them to keep pressure, to keep the seed on the plates, but not highly technical, easy to run, less things to go wrong. This technology, and I have my other planter full of it, and it works great when it's all working, you know. And all us guys have had trouble with technology. Sometimes we're sitting in the field just because technology won't work. The mechanics are fine, but technology won't work. So I've already planted 300 acres with this. I love the way it's planting. It's doing a great job. We're going to try to show it a little bit later if it dries out enough today, but lower cost piece of equipment. Really well built. The fold, if you look at the fold, I got no tires to deal with up in here. My other planter, we got tires in between the rows. So it's another thing with the twin row, just makes it, you know, a nice, kind of a nice split between 30-inch rows and a drill or a split row planter. This particular planter also has 2 fertilizer tanks. If you walk around back here, the main tank is, you know, your seed, right? And then you've got 2 onboard fertilizer tanks for my starter. Now, each one of those is valved, right? You can shut each one of them off. So I can have a different product like I do on my corn planter in either tank, you know, like that silica we're talking about, or one of these other ones. We could just put in one tank, and then I'll valve it, you know, when I decide I'm going to do that test strip, we'll valve it, that one on and, you know, the other one off, or vice versa, whatever we need to do. I really like that this planter had that, because we do a lot of testing every year, and that makes it simpler for me to do that. So let's walk up here to the tractor. I've said this a lot on the Corn Warrior thing, and you know, I'm not a young pup, so I kind of like some of the old school stuff a little better. It's a John Deere 8300. We bought a couple of them last year. You know, they're pre-def, pre any of that heavy duty computers type stuff. I do have it up, you know, I've got RTK in it, You know, we got some technology in it as far as steering, but it's old school. Doesn't use as much fuel as some of these new ones, and what they used to call bulletproof tractors. So I like bulletproof. So that's what we're gonna be using. So one of the things that I liked about this planter, like I said, it was a used planter, but it had an in-furrow system on it. And when we're using like the Terramax IF, you know, and we usually have some sort of, possibly another biological or something that we want to get in furrow. Yeah, I was really glad to see it had an in-furrow system on it. One of the biggest things, you know, you can do with an in-furrow is maybe get that, you know, that bean seed off to a little bit quicker start. I alluded to that a little bit earlier, and that can be when we're planting beans first and we're the northmost, you know, in the show planting. I need to get those little seeds out of the ground and get them going. So with an in-furrow system, we could help with that, you know, to put some products in there to help get them out of the ground. Now, when I planted beans with my other planter, with my what I would call my corn planter, my deer planter, we have ran a 3x3 high concentration of fertilizer with that also. We did see a yield increase, but it was only like 3-4 bushel an acre, and it was just paying for itself. Beans like that nutrient coming in at reproductive stage, or that's when they really need it, is what I should say. So we try to have plenty there for them. The purpose of the stuff on the planter is kind of just to give it a good start. It's not enough to carry it, but beans are just like corn. It's kind of a long race, you know. You start them off healthy, keep feeding them through the year, and extend their grain fill, get a big seed size, and that's how you get a lot of beans. So that's our methodology. Okay, so another thing I liked about this planter is I went and looked at the guy's crops that owned this planter. He's only 30 miles away. I bought it from him, you know, a local guy. And I went and looked at his singulation last year. So that's very important, and it's very important on beans. People have talked about it in corn forever, but it's very important on beans. That's what I was talking about, widening that gap in between the seeds, and you can do that because you have 2 rows. You're not having to pack them in as tight. So I looked at his singulation, and they were, I don't know how the planter does it, but it does seem to put 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. And that's, you know, it's a cross pattern. That'll be awesome if that's the way they all are and they come up, because it adds that much distance in between each of them. On my other planter, when we're putting seeds in that close, my singulation was not what I wanted it to be. And that's one of the biggest reasons also I wanted to go to a different planter or a different system. It looks like Great Plains with their plate and their delivery system is doing a really good job singulating, and that's what we're going to also find out. Through the year, we'll show that pretty heavily, because I think bean singulation is every bit as important as it is with corn. Hey there, we're still talking about this Great Plains planter, and Copperhead makes these closing wheels. Now the difference, a lot of people are familiar with their poly ones, but this is cast. This sucker weighs, I don't know, 20 pounds probably, even with all these knockouts. These are good solid closing wheels. I went with those instead of the polys, just in you know, in no-till situations. You got a little more weight. I think they're a little bit more aggressive. We've used them. You can see we got paint wore off, and that's actually from being washed, that's rust, but it kind of looks like it's a Copperhead. Get it? Copperhead. Maybe that's why they do that. So I've got 300 acres in with these. They're doing a really good job. I'm glad I put them on. They're working good. As you can see, the closeness we have here. Haven't had any issues with any rocks. I usually have trouble with closing wheels, a rock catching in here, or with this planter I would kind of worry about in here. I haven't had not one plug yet. I think the holes are helping a little bit, or just the teeth are kicking them out. Big difference for me because we have a lot of fist-sized rocks, and if they come in here, they'll plug these on our other closing wheels, and it stops it, and then it drags, and you can't hardly see that till you're at the end of the field, and you got a ditch all the way down the field. So really liking these Copperheads. I think they got a good design on these cast ones. I actually believe I probably prefer them. So doing a good job for us, and glad we put them on.
You could be Tim just for this.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Dance planting tips.
So one of we call it Dan's planting tips. It's a new collage we're putting together. So in our area, I've noticed the last day or two that all the dandelions are out. You know, the bright yellow flowers are out. And what I've noticed through the years is that when the dandelions come out, that's time to plant corn. The reason I've kind of come to that deduction is that I used to actually spray some yards and a couple commercial properties for their dandelions. And every time they wanted them sprayed, they wanted them sprayed about as soon as the dandelions come out, I was wanting to plant corn. I noticed it kind of always was the same day or two. So I don't know if it's a soil temperature or seasonally, but the dandelions come out and it's time to plant corn. So just yesterday I noticed the first dandelions, so I'm saying it's time to plant corn. Of course it is May 1st, I guess, isn't it, today? Yeah. Hey, look, coyote right in front of us. Here's one of our local dogs, wild dogs. He's fast. Look at him go, look at him go, look at him go. We have a lot of those around here.
Wow, that's a decent
Fast.
shot, too.
Fast as fast can be. We're trying to plant beans today.
Right.
That's one of the wetter spots. Better stop here. We are trying to plant beans, and that looks kind of wet. Yeah. So we'd like to get the beans done so we can start on our corn, because I prefer to get the beans all done, then start the corn. But now that we do have 2 planters, we don't have to do that. So we'll see what it looks like. We're going to see if this field is drying off enough. I kind of stopped in one of the wetter spots, and we're going to get out and look, see if we think it'll go today or not. So if you can make a mud ball, it's too wet, an inch or 2 down. In the sandier parts of this field, it wouldn't be like this, but this year is too wet. Chances of us being able to plant this are pretty slim today without some sun and rain. A couple hours, sun and wind is what I meant to say. A couple hours would make a big difference, but let's walk out of this spot a little bit, because this is one of the wetter spots. Now, as we walked from that spot over into here, you notice how the top looks drier. It's not dry by any means, but it's drier than that spot. So we'll do the same thing I was just talking about. You know, I like to grab some of it. That's still muddy down about 2-3 inches. If I just take the top, now that's having a harder time clump. See, that's, you know, more of the top soil. Now that, if it was like that 2 inches, 3 inches deep, I would say we could go on it, but it's not. That's a couple inches down. We still got mud balls, so not real optimistic on this today. It's not what we were looking for. More rain coming tonight, they said, so that's where we're at. Well, I can do these in a day. These fields, there's just 2 fields here, one small one too, but it's time to plant corn now. It's May 1st. We'd like to get the beans wrapped up and get onto the corn. So I was really hoping we could get to this today, but it's not looking real good right now. So that's where we're at. This year, I've done a little of this in the past, but we're calling it stale planting. I mean, it's some guys would say, well, you're no-tilling. Well, we're not no-tilling because we worked this in the fall with a disc. And we just basically made a seed bed and made it flat. Now, if I no-tilled it, which I like no-tilling, it just takes a lot longer to dry out with no-till. So when you're going early with beans, as we like to do, we're trying working it in the fall, and then we're just going to plant into, you know, what we call the stale seed bed, just because we're not working it. That's the reason I'm calling it stale. And these will dry out, and they'll dry out because of this. See these cracks? Those cracks let that topsoil dry out. And also I have pretty good worm populations. So it's in between a no-till and a conventional till. We're not tilling down deep where you destroy a lot of our earthworm population. We're just tilling the top. And I've actually spread, you know, we've spread a little bit of manure out here too to replace some of the fodder, because we actually baled these off. But I'm just digging down again to see what we got. That right there is, you know, a wormhole. I was going to see if I had any worms right there that I dug up. I seen some. There's one. But there's another. We usually try to have pretty good worm populations. We have no-tilled a lot, had a lot of cover crop. I think it helps with all that. Humics seem to help. Actually with worm populations. I'm not really sure why, but they seem to. This is better than across the road. It's not terrible. It's not really fit yet, but it's not terrible. Let's keep walking. Yeah. Not real optimistic, guys.
No.
There's that wind finally, but
It's starting to, but you get that sun out.
yeah.
It's a deal if it wasn't going to rain.
Juicy number.
So these guys here are very important. We like to see good earthworm populations. Sometimes it all depends on where you're pulling your shovel up, but this, I don't know, can you see that hole right there? You know, that's crucial to a lot of different things, especially like if you are no-tilling. The roots can actually pass down those wormhole holes and help you get into some of the subsoil, and which alleviates, if you do have some compaction issues, those worms can help with that. It's an indication of a healthy soil. If you've got earthworms, you know you've got a healthy soil. So we always like to see them when we're digging, and you know, we try to maintain those populations and try not to harm them too much. Deep tillage will kind of harm your populations. It's kind of like you're all sitting around the kitchen table and a tornado comes through, you know, goes all the way through and takes the whole house and rips it all to pieces. If you're just tilling the top, at least you're just kind of messing with the top area, and they've still got all their channels down, you know, below several inches deep, so you're not harming them as much. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure every place is different too.
Have you guys seen, you know, like after a rain where the roads will be full of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells like hell, you know, after a while. Yeah.
The sun comes out and they all roast.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why they go to the roads always. You know, what that deal is, but yeah.
Right after a rain, you always
Oh, yeah. That can get nasty.
that can get nasty in a hurry.
Yeah.
What's that?
So I guess there's a possibility 4 hours from now or something we could do a little, maybe, but it don't look real good. So I don't know if you guys want to stick around or you want to just get frickin' going, because, you know, it don't look real confident here. So you tell me.
Everywhere tomorrow, isn't it?
I was just checking my system, make sure it's flowing on all the rows, which looks like it is. Well, we're gonna we're gonna go down and try to plant that field we just worked, I think. So, do I just leave everything on then now, or are they out of batteries anyway? Huh? Well, pull them now then. It's all right. All right. I mean, it's actually, I'm going to do that little field, and then that is
good for the air as I was up there.
this is drying out. I mean, we may even come over here then.
Yeah. Coming on and off.
I got one clutch. It's not coming. It's not clutching. It's so when it doesn't clutch on, it doesn't plant. Huh? Yeah. You know how I fix stuff, don't you? I beat on it. So they call me the hammer, except I'm hammering with a screwdriver. You got it. Yeah. Yeah, choke it. Half of this. Well, I only need a gallon and a half of it, but yeah. Sure we're going in? Not getting anything. Well, valves are off.
I'm just putting this stuff in one tank. Yeah. Watch and make sure it's pumping. That screen will plug. No, 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 no.
What?
Crank it up, crank it up. The screen will plug, watch that it's pumping.
I'm just.
Take some rinse water in this. I need a little water to flush that. Plugged up. Turn it on. Sure all the valves are on, 'cause I ain't getting nothing. Plugging the screens right away.
Check 1, 2.
gas. Gonna run without.
Check one. Check, Michael. Oh, hello.
Right.
Check 1, 2, 3. Rice, rusk.
Yeah. I changed some of them already. Did you guys switch out that battery in there that you wanted to while we were sitting? We're going to.
We're about to pull. You got to leave?
No, I'm ready to go. You're supposed to be doing all that while we're doing this. So get it switched.
I would throw in another 4 or 5 inches.
More than that, needs 7 inches.
Now you're gonna nudge to the left this time, right? Because of the way you're sitting. What? Yeah. Like the same, like, what did you put in there?
7 inches.
7? I cut it in half.
Is it that? It looks like it went way too far.
Well, you're about, I mean, you need to look at it.
Back exactly what I moved it.
Is your planer straight?
Yeah. I mean, I had enough room each way. I don't know.
Split the difference, you know? Not quite.
More than that.
You're closer.
Two and a half inches, so we're basically back where we
I think him changing direction threw us off at one time.
tape measure. Take the tape measure.
Fucking go. It's good.
Flag being bent, I thought it was off too.
Yeah.
And it was on the money.
Yeah.
Just this last time.
That's what it was. A couple of that fucking around was he just didn't have the planter straight. So we probably had the line set like a while ago. So, yeah.
Cut that out. As the camera's rolling on.
Yeah, I
I wasn't
know.
even rolling on you.
I don't care. I don't care. That's part of the father and son dynamic. You just fucking call each other idiots all day.
Hey man, part of farming.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's give you a test run.
There's gonna be a gap right there. Whatever. So you gotta look at the base of the flag. But, I mean, it's there.
Could you explain?
So this field has drip irrigation tape running through it, and at the base of where this flag is a drip line. So there's irrigation under the ground running the length of the field, and so that line needs to be right in the middle between this set of rows and this set of rows. So that way both these are getting the same amount of water. If you're off one way or the other, you know, then you're kind of favoring a set of rows, and you really want that evenness as far as making sure both plants are getting enough water. That's pretty much what's going on.
That's amazing. Thank you.
And so, like, you had to turn around a few times.
So
what were you trying to get?
there's different forms of GPS. There's the free form of GPS where you get less satellites, and then there's something called RTK, which is what we have, and that's a exact line. I mean, it puts it down to the inch, and it shouldn't vary much more out of that. And if he's going to be off, you know, 6 inches, he's going to be off 6 inches across the entire field. He won't be off just a little bit. So by having that RTK, we're pretty much guaranteeing we're right in the middle every single time. So it's working now. Yay. It probably took 8 times to get it set right. And the hell of it is that it should already be loaded into that tractor, and we have it set every year, but for whatever reason that line was off 7.5 feet. So, yeah.
Or too much clouds, right? Is it
No,
it's not
no, it just drew the line. So it wasn't a cloud issue or anything like that. It just drew the line 7 feet to the left for some reason. So.
Gotcha. Technology.
Yeah, technology.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So luckily we were able to figure it out after a couple headaches. But now going back and forth on this corner about 100 times, we compacted the living shit out of it. So this corner's gonna look awful. But oh well, the rest of the field will look good.
But the upside is we didn't think we were gonna run this field today, right?
That's true. There's rain coming at 1 a.m. So I don't know how. I bet he runs up to that point.
I bet he does.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the rain's not supposed to shut off for at least till Friday. And then it'll take another at least 3 days to dry out, depending on how much we got. And then hopefully it doesn't rain after that. But yeah, go figure. It was super dry last year. Now we're getting too much water. That's how it goes.
That's farming, I'd
Yeah,
say.
that's farming. He says, load with beans when I get back. No, I told her it was going to be late night. I told Kim it was going to be late night.
How's
Yeah.
the baby?
Baby's good. She could sleep better, but I don't know. She's a baby. She keeps getting a fever, but we think she's still teething. Well, we know she's still teething, so hopefully, you know.
That's normal then.
Hopefully we move past that sooner than later, because we would like a full night of sleep here at some point. We haven't had one in 10 months, so. And when I say we, I mean Kim hasn't had one in 10 months. So. Yeah. I got to give my wife credit, so she'll see that. She'll see this and she'll be like, "I do all the work," which she does.
So it's fair.
But I better not yeah. I can't complain too much, to be honest with you. Find any, Nate?
Oh yeah, they're looking good.
Are they about where they were at?
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe a touch. I mean, like, for me, it's first knuckle just past. Sorry.
Okay.
It looks good. Good moisture.
We're only up like 1 inch now.
Probably 1.5 inches, according to you, right? About 1.5 inches?
Yeah, I'm right at 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
That looks just like over there, truthfully. Almost identical.
It's weird because that shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
But unless So that planter's not like our other planter. That planter has spring down force. The other planter's got like air downforce, right? That's air, right? With spring downforce, it doesn't adjust to every field and different hardness of the ground and stuff like that. So typically when you go to different fields, whether it's been worked or you're trying to no-till, everything should be a little different, and every single time you kind of have to set the planter up a little bit different. So he said load with beans when we're back. That probably means to get in my truck. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's coming. Oh yeah. He's on the move.
He's gonna compact what he already compacted. Yeah, I'm gonna back right there. What I can do about that. Jesus. Ugh. What else does he want? Should be okay. Should be all right. No! What? Hopefully that's not too much of an angle. It's almost full.
Where's the oil?
Service truck, passenger side front box.
say, just tell us a little bit about the Pottinger here. What did you guys get it for? What does it do?
Me, hold on. No, I got you.
Am I on?
Yeah, I just had you turn it on. You're good.
Good, 1, 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
That's no good. Shit. This thing never likes it when you go backwards. It likes it don't want to plant them.
Okay.
So then you gotta do stupid stuff with it to make it work. Especially when you start doing this and it just won't plant. Come on. That's a good sign, they're turning. Alright. They liked it that time. Okay.
Right. Got a lot going on, Dan.
Well, yeah, things weren't, working. We're kind of used to that around here. Shit just don't work right. I put the GPS lines out of the other tractor into this on the other fields. It's followed it. Here it was off 7 feet, and that is very crucial here because my drip lines are in between the rows.
Yeah. Mike's still in place.
You're not hearing me properly.
I think it's there.
We'll check here in a second.
I'm not hearing the tap. It's weird. I can see it though.
Well, here's 1, 2,
Oh, you know
3,
what?
4.
I think I know. Somebody's switching.
You don't have Nate's sound box in here.
What's that?
Do you have to have Nate's box in here for it to work or not?
No.
No?
I
Okay.
don't need it.
Well, all right, so Seth's riding along with me. This is our first time out on the Podfathers show. Like I said kind of earlier, I don't expect to win anything on Podfathers, but what I do expect to do is do the same thing as everybody viewing. I hope to learn something. I got the best soybean farmers in the world that I can ask questions to, and I already have. And we've done a lot of the things similar, but they got a couple new ideas that I'm going to try. So that wealth of knowledge there is awesome. If I can go to one of those guys and ask them a question, and we can help each other a little bit, because things do work differently across the country. I'm definitely the farthest north. We have to plant a lot shorter maturity beans. I do not expect to be able to yield with them, but what I expect or hope to do is increase off of what I've been doing and increase our on-farm average. And when you increase your on-farm average, we all know that's dollars in your pocket. So that's what we're doing. We got started late today on a farm that this actually could be part of our contest beans here. It's on our drip irrigated farm. Just got fit at almost just before dark, so we're running now. I'd like to see it a little more fit, but more rain's coming in at 1 a.m. and it seems like it's going to be one of those springs. So if we've got an opportunity, we're going to go out and take it. So excited to be on Podfathers. We're going to show what we're doing. We're going to show how we're doing it, and hope everybody learns something. I know I'm gonna. All right, so this farm we're planting, it's what I call Sinisippi. If you guys have followed Corn Warriors, this is where our drip irrigation's at. So we've had some of our state winning yields with corn on this ground. Now the ground is not good. I mean, what most people would consider not good. You know, it's sandy, lower CCs. It is pretty variable. We got sand knobs, and then there's actually some blacker areas that have a lot of tile under them. But what's consistent through all of it at about 20-24 inches is it's silica sand underneath. I have no subsoil here, so I got no water holding capacity. Nutrients will leach easily. We had to learn how to farm this farm completely differently than what I was brought up doing. We have to basically feed it throughout the year, feed it, you know, split shot, a lot of stuff, and our drip system helps us do that. But even with that, we have to do a lot of different passes, even on top, just to keep a crop fed if we're going to try to do high yield. So CC's out here from 7 to 15, not extremely low, but once you get down into the subsoil, like I said, when you get to that silica sand, I think that'd have a 0 CEC. I don't know, never actually tested it, but that's what I would guess it would be. And the roots, you know, you want your roots going that deep. So when they get there, they got to do everything in the topsoil. There's nothing there for them. So we have to farm this one a little differently, but we kind of got it figured out how to do it. We've been getting some pretty good yields off these farms, and we're going to show you how we're doing it.
So last year was it in corn?
Last year these fields were in corn. Actually, the one across the road is the one we pulled our first place NCGA entry off of for no-till corn. These beans are not no-till this year. This is it was just hit with a high-speed disc a couple times in the fall, and actually we're just what I call the term stale planting into it. As wet as it is, we're actually skating across the top and able to plant it. If I had to come out here and work this again, I don't think we'd be able to do it today. But we're getting it done. It's supposed to rain again at 1 a.m. It's about 8 o'clock right now. We'll get at least one of the fields done. I hope to jump across the road. I'd sure like to get it all done tonight. But there's 100 acres here. That's asking a little much for a 16 row in a few hours. So we're gonna do what we can. We're gonna try to get her done. I believe over the next day we're supposed to get another inch. Next day and a half. So that'd put us out, you know, quite a few days again with no more heat than we're supposed to get. It's the 1st of May. I like to be done with my beans by 1st of May. We plant our beans first. We were one of the first ones in the area to do that. Started it, I don't know, 6 years ago. I was the only one doing it here, up in our area. And now, boy, a lot of guys are planting first. They figured out that beans need that extra time. You need to get them in early so you're flowering by summer solstice on June 21st. It's a big deal. At 2 or 3 weeks on beans can make, well, data shows it's usually 7 or 8 bushel. 7 or 8 bushel in today's market's a lot of money, so we want to get these beans in. We're going to get some moisture tonight, which we need them on these farms. I mean, we're inherently still dry in our subsoils. The top is wet, or on the wet side, so I don't want to turn down any rain because we need it for our subsoils. So we'll just work with it, and we'll plant like heck when we can, and you know, we'll prepare everything we need to do when it's raining. So Mother Nature's the queen, as you might say, and we just work with her. So if you guys have followed me on Corn Warriors and some of our social media stuff, you know I always kind of like the old school stuff a little bit better. I got a little age on me. I don't mind having some age in my equipment. One thing, the cost, you know. I don't farm a ton of acres, so it's hard to have all new stuff sitting around anyway, right? But actually last year I bought 2 John Deere 8300s, which are, you know, they're 25-year-old tractors. Upside about that though is, you know, that's kind of what they call the bulletproof age. A lot less go wrong with them. There's less technology. You don't have DEF. There's a lot of different, you know, there's a lot of different pluses to that. And I know how to work on these old ones better. The new ones, there's so much technology that you have to have, you know, one of your certified mechanics out from the dealership. One of these I can do a lot on, so still can do a lot of work with these older tractors, you know, and I got it outfitted actually with RTK. That's really, you know, that, and it runs the planter just fine. Cab isn't quite as quiet as these new ones would be, but I'm okay with that. It's a hell of a lot louder, or a hell of a lot quieter than it used to be with no cab at all. So. I've got this Great Plains twin row planter that's new to us this year. I've been wanting to go to some sort of narrower row configuration on beans of minimum. I wouldn't even mind doing it on corn, but at a minimum I wanted to do it on beans. I think there's an easy 5 bushel to be had there. So I've been real pleased with this Great Plains planter. So far we bought it used, and it's working good. We've had a couple little technology issues with it, but it's me getting used to it, I think, as much as anything. But once we get in the field and get going with it, really like the way it's planted. I like the way it's spacing. It's holding its depth good. I'm pretty well used to the monitor now. It's, you know, different than our other planter. So between this tractor and used planter, we're gonna break 100 bushel beans, I hope. So, you know, everybody always has a plan, or somewhat of a plan of what they're gonna do with a field for the year, and especially if it's a contest field, you know, you got a lot of products picked out or certain nutrients you want to make sure it has. But I've got kind of a saying is, my plan is the plan will change, and that happens pretty much every year. Weather, how it's growing, crop stress or no stress, or a hail event, we always have something. Last year we had frost, you know. I just plan on changing my plan. So I have most of the products and things that I believe I'm going to use, but I guarantee you there'll be something that I'll call up somebody frantically after a tissue test and think I need to add something, or a weather event will make me change something. So we will be giving this some foliar treatments. I'm going to stream on some fertilizer. I might even use that dry banding machine I have on a couple products. I haven't quite decided for sure on that yet, but I think as long as it's good and dry out, where I can get over the field again when it's nice and dry, not to compact anything, I might do that. So on this contest stuff, it's usually multiple passes. It's a couple fungicide passes usually. We've been Y dropping some beans the last few years. Found out that that's doing pretty good, so I would suspect we'll probably be doing some of that also. So we'll show it all through the year as we're doing it, and see if, like I said, see if we can learn something, and hopefully you guys can too. So it's 9:15 p.m. May 1st. We're planting. Camera crew's been out here this afternoon. Podfather's camera crew. They are gonna rock on out, and I'm gonna keep rock and rolling. Supposed to rain around 1 o'clock. There'd be a chance I could actually get done planting beans tonight, but I doubt if I'll make it. That'd be, but I'm gonna give it a try. What the hell? See everybody a little bit later.